Novak, how did it feel to be out there coming into the tournament this year, a bit more fresher, injury-wise?
Yeah, well, it feels great to to be healthy and back on this court again. 12 months ago, it was quite a different sensation on the court, with the elbow injury. 12 months forward, obviously, things are quite different. I had a tremendous success in the last 6 months, and it got me to a great position, and hopefully I can, follow up on this victory tonight with a good performance, and hopefully another good match in a few days.
Novak, I'm not sure if you saw Rafa's comments yesterday about the council situation and Chris Commode.
No, I have not.
Okay, so he kind of said that no one had approached him from the council to kind of ask him about this decision, and he was a bit confused why a representative wouldn't have spoken to him as kind of one of the experienced players on the tour who knows kind of a lot. It feels like a big decision not to ask Rafa about. Did you know he'd not been asked, and why wasn't he consulted? I suppose why was there an oversight?
Well, first of all, we have to clear up that the decision is not made. So, the decision has been not made, and we still have time. So. The representatives on the council and player board representatives will talk with Rafa, Roger, and anybody who is interested to have a discussion about this. Now, what is very important for everybody to understand is that Rafa has always been involved, no question about it, whether he was part of the political structure, council or not. He always tried to contribute to the game, and I need to credit him for that. But not many players want to be involved. That's the thing. That's something that we as player council members are trying to evoke in players. More of an interest, more of a willingness to be part of all of this discussions, because it's important. It's not just about the present. It's about the future of the sport. And I think in terms of communication between the players, it is much better than it was, say, 5 years ago, because I've been now in council. This is my 7th or 8th year. It's probably my 5th in a row. And the last year and a half, there's been quite a significant improvement in terms of communication between the players, which is great, because that's what we need. In the end of the day, our primary job is to play tennis, whereas everybody else has a different priorities. So they have more time and to have meetings and to go through this particular, subjects and information filtering. For us, it's an additional energy and effort, but I think at least from my perspective, I do it because I care about the sport and I care about players, and I want to be able to use my status to contribute to positive changes. No one is getting paid for this in the council. We are all doing it because we care about the sport, we care about each other, and that's all it is.
Just on that point of communication, Roger said he was quite keen to speak to you, and he said he would be kind of collaring you during this Australian Open. Has he kind of got into contact yet?
We will speak. As I said, we didn't have a chance to speak so far, but we'll see each other here, and if not here, then it's going to be after that. We have each other's numbers, and of course, in person is quite different. So I've talked with Roger in the last 6 months several times, in Laver Cup, in the US Open, to Rafa as well in US Open. So I'm trying as well from my side to create time for these things, and because they are not part of the council, but they are extremely important, essential players in this kind of big decision making.
Yesterday Andy said that he regrets pushing himself so hard and maybe playing when he shouldn't have and all of that stuff. I know you talked about that in regards to your elbow, maybe playing tournaments when you shouldn't. Given all the competition, that this is a 10-month tour, how difficult is it to stop and to have a break when you're trying to achieve your goals?
It's hard to stop, you know. I mean, we all have our individual choices that we make that after have a certain consequences, whether they are positive or negative. You know, for him, I understand, you know, why he said that. You know, I also had that, you know, those kind of particular situations and, you know, kind of circumstances where I was questioning why I've played so much or whether I should have played differently. But I think at least in my case, I try not to have any regrets. You know, I think everything really happens for a reason. I just have to accept it, embrace it. You know, in his case, he's really, unfortunate to go through things that he went through in the last 2 years, and the way it seems he's going to end his career this year. So this is really, you know, sad for all of us, and we talked about it. You know, it's sad to see him, you know, go that way. That is not on his terms, because injury is the greatest obstacle that an athlete can have.
Novak, did you watch any of Andy's match yesterday? And I'm just wondering, how did it?
Yeah, of course. I think everyone watched it. You know, it was after 2 sets. I think no one expected him to really come back, considering, you know, how he feels, and he showed once again his amazing champion spirit, and, you know, why he's such a fighter, and why he's so respected and appreciated around the tennis world and sports world in general, because you could see everything, you know, that he is in that match yesterday. Unfortunately, ended up him losing, but you know, he can be proud of what he showcased.
Follow up on what he was saying. Do you ever see the ATP players represented by a union?
Excuse me, again?
Do you ever see the ATP players represented by a union in the future at any point?
Look, you know, it's quite different for us, because the unions in other sports are focused on the particular countries. For example, in NBA, you know, the union of players has to comply to the legislation of American law. I mean, in tennis is quite different. You know, we travel all around the world. We have 63, I think, tournaments in probably that many countries, and so, you know, we are trying to make the most of what we have at the moment. You know, we have this kind of structure and system that is not perfect, but, you know, we are here, and we are trying to do our best to improve the system as well. I think there's, you know, definitely certain aspects of the system that need to be improved, you know, without a doubt. But tennis is a bit complex sport in terms of interest sides, because you have ATP, you have ITF, you have Grand Slams as independent entities, you have you know, multiple, tens of different tournament owners around the world. So you have to deal with everyone, and in the end of the day, ATP is a organization that is 50% players, 50% tournaments, which in most of the cases is conflict of interest. So yeah, I think it's far more complicated than it actually seems. But it is what it is. So as I said, you have to deal with it.
One question. Novak, you're playing Tsonga next. Your career trajectories have crossed several times at important moments, and he had the upper hand at the start, and you completely turned the head-to-head around. What's the mindset when now you're going into a court against Tsonga? How do you see that rivalry?
Well, it's funny. I mean, 11 years after our first Grand Slam final here, it feels like a lot has happened for both of us. And he also struggled with injuries, you know, lately. And it's good to see him playing well. It's good to see him back. You know, he's another great player, champion, someone that has been very successful in the past, established top 10 player, played you know, Grand Slam final, and just very powerful. You know, serve, forehand, big weapons. You know, I know what to expect. You know, I've played him many times. I lost to him as well. You know, and in this court as well. You know, in Rod Laver, I think back in 2010. So yeah, I mean, it just. I'm going to approach it as any other match, to be honest. You know, really optimistic, but also respectful, and trying to do whatever I can to win it.